Hey everybody, so today we're going to be making a seafood boil, and I finally got a recipe that I think I'm going to be comfortable sharing with you because I'm not going to do the exact steps or the typical seafood boil. There's a couple of things that I'm going to do that's not the norm. So I'm going to walk you through that so that the end result is probably what you're going to want, okay? The other thing is this seafood boil contains shrimp. If you are allergic to shrimp, don't worry about it. You can leave it out. Don't think that you have to bypass this entire recipe just because it contains shrimp. Leave it out. Use your other favorite seafood like the crab, your choice of crab, okay? I'm gonna be using king crab, but you can use your choice. You can also use lobster if you want, okay? So I'm gonna write that in as options in this recipe, so be sure and check the description area to get the recipe. The next thing I want to tell you is that this particular recipe does contain andouille sausage, and the andouille sausage that I'm going to be using is from Silva Sausage Company. Now, I've worked with this company before. I've talked to you about their products. This is another great one that you might want to give a try. Check the description area for the list of distributors and stores that carry their products so you can also have it on hand, okay? So on to the recipe. So we're going to start this recipe off by taking 3 bulbs of garlic, cutting them in half, and then we're going to wrap them up in some cheesecloth along with about 3 to 4 dried bay leaves. This is absolutely a great way to add flavor to your stock, and this is one of the things that sometimes you see it in seafood boils and sometimes you don't. This is just a way of keeping all the garlic and the bay leaves together so they're not running around loose in the seafood boil. So this is a good way of doing that. So when you're done cooking, all you have to do is pull the whole package out. As for the seasoning, we're going to be using Grand Diamond all-purpose seasoning, and you can find that at gdseasoning.com along with this recipe. Some additional kosher salt, and we're going to be using some concentrated shrimp and crab oil, which is a great ingredient to use. Here are some of our other ingredients like corn, king crab legs. Like I said, you can switch out for your favorite kind of crab leg. And then we're also going to have some shrimp, and these shrimp have been deveined, and I've left the tails on. And lastly, we do have our andouille sausage from Silva Sausage Company. Be sure and check the information below. So in 9 quarts of water, I'm going to pour about 5 to 6 tablespoons of the concentrated shrimp and crab oil. Then I'm going to add my kosher salt, and it equaled out to about 1/3 of a cup. Then I added about 1/4 cup of GDS. And see, this water is not hot yet. It's still kind of on the cool side. So this is where I'm stepping out of the box a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and drop the potatoes in now, because sometimes dropping potatoes into boiling hot water, the potato will seize up and they won't cook right all the way through. So if you do it like this, you'll have a perfectly cooked potato. And I also dropped the bouquet garni. So about 30 to 35 minutes later, I pull the potatoes up and I'm using a fork to see how tender they are. As you can see, I have a lot of resistance. So that's where I want it. Now I can start to throw in some of the other ingredients. The andouille sausage is going in next. And this is going to help release some fat into the water and of course more flavor. So down it goes. And for some of you wondering, I am using a turkey fryer, and if you didn't know, turkey fryers can be used to double for tasks like this for seafood boils. This one is a countertop version. I am inside my house, I am not outside, and it plugs up right into my wall. And just as a side note, I had to do this recipe on a 2-step ladder because the device sits kinda high, but it's okay, I got through it. Now what I'm doing about 15 minutes later after we drop the sausage, is giving off its fat and flavor, and now I'm going to drop the corn. At the same time, what I'm trying to do is control the cooking time and those potatoes on the bottom. So now what I'm doing after I've dropped the corn, it's about maybe 5-10 minutes. Now I'm ready to drop my crab and allow this recipe to come up to a somewhat boil. And to do that, I'm going to now cover the pot. When you're cooking this much in a pot like this with 9 quarts of water, keeping the pot uncovered helps you kind of control the cooking process, and again, keeping those potatoes on the bottom intact. Now that we're covering the pot for about 15 to 20 minutes, now you're going to see an actual rolling boil. You look there in the pot, that's what you want. Now everything has melted together, all the flavors are married, and it's just time now to do one last step, and that's add the shrimp. Now again, for my non-shrimp eaters, if you are allergic, like I said before, don't worry about adding this ingredient if you are allergic. You don't have to. Shoot, if I was you, I would throw in some lobster tails, but you know, that's just me. So that's just an idea of something you can do, okay? And I'm using about 4 pounds of shrimp in the recipe, but like I said, be sure and check the description area below. Our shrimp are in, cut the heat. Now that everything is nice and cooked, and the shrimp don't take that long to cook, remember, they only take about 5 minutes in this case. So I'm just gonna lift them up and let everything drain. This recipe is so awesome. It tastes really good. And I know, you're supposed to pour a crab boil out on newspaper. Okay, well, my family hadn't made it there yet, so I did it the bougie way, and I poured it out on a nice big platter. So finally, I'm just gonna hit everything one last time with some seasoning, especially the corn and the potatoes. And notice our potatoes are perfectly cooked. And then add some lemon wedges and some fresh parsley, and you're ready to dive in. I really hope you guys enjoy this recipe and give it a try. Even if it's a modified version, it's well worth it. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate you spending time with me. And remember, these recipes and more can be found at gdseasoning.com. And I'll see you next time.